My name is Deanna Benson and welcome to my show, Chef Deanna Benson Cooking with Friends. I am a personal chef that comes to your home and cooks a fabulous gourmet meal for you. Today we are in Temecula, California at the beautiful estate home, La Casa Contenta. I am going to be preparing 4 delicious farm-to-table gourmet meals that even you can cook for your special guests. So let's go in the kitchen and get started. So it's very important to have a few appetizers or a few things to munch on before your guests or as your guests are arriving. So I suggest just a simple fruit and cheese platter. You can dress up your actual platter by putting fresh flowers and grape leaves, which I've done here. And it's very simple. You can also prepare the night before and place it in a plastic baggie. That way, after you plate your fruit and cheese onto the platter, all you have to do is just throw away the baggies. There's no mess, there's no mess, there's no hassle. Just simply throw the bag away. Gives you more time to spend with your guests as well as preparing your food. So it should be fun. Your dinner party should be fun for you as well as your guests. Just a little tip here. And then how I like to just make sure you get fruits that have different colors in it so they contrast a little and look pretty on the plate. Some cheeses, just kind of place on the plate. A little rustic looking. And then the crackers as well. I just like to throw some fresh smoked almonds. And then voila, you're finished. And you just throw away your trash. So for our first pairing, I will demonstrate how to do the shrimp and mango garlic saute. You can prepare everything prior to your guests arriving for your dinner party. Make sure that you take your shrimp and you peel and devein your shrimp. I have a wonderful sous chef that you will be meeting shortly that helped me prepare this. After deveining and cleaning your shrimp, cut up your mango into almost 1 inch to 1/2 inch squares. Mango is a wonderful fruit that is a little bit citrusy, a little bit sweet. Peeling off the very thin skin of the mango. This is a wonderful, nice, juicy mango. Very, very fresh. Sometimes it's hard to find a nice mango that's ripe or fresh. This one is very, very ripe, very, very fresh. You can kind of tell the mango because it looks a little meaty or I guess meaty you would call it. Anyways, you just kind of cut and dice the mango just like that. And again, this is your pod seed. Sometimes you're able to cut the ends off the pod and use them with your dish. Sometimes not. Like right now it's a little difficult for that one. So I'm just gonna forego that one and just cut that one. Now the next mango that I cut slightly different. So let's see what that one is too. So as you can see, this mango is just a little bit slightly different. It just has a little, it's more firm than the other mango. It's not as mealy. It's still delicious. It's probably a little bit nicer to handle. And both mangoes are satisfactory to cook this dish. But I just kind of wanted to show you two different ripeness of mango, and they're both just beautiful and tasty. So as you can see, this mango is just a little bit easier to handle. It'll be delicious and nice and sweet. One of the things that I like to do while I'm cooking is actually tasting the actual food that you're cooking. And the reason being is I had an experience when I was cooking a dish with fresh cucumber. And the cucumber was actually very tough and kind of like a sour taste. It looked delicious, it smelled delicious, but it tasted so bitter. And it's like, wow, I almost had to redo the whole dish, which was kind of scary, but anyways. Okay, so we're finished preparing our mango. So what we're going to do is we're going to be placing our mango inside of this bag. Simple, easy bag of shrimp. I have 6 pounds of shrimp and I have 6 mangoes. So per 1 pound of shrimp, you would prepare 1 mango. So we have that prepared. Mix it up a little bit. Use your hands, nice and clean. Go over here and sink and wash my hands off here. So I have 6 pounds of shrimp. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 large cloves of garlic. If they're smaller cloves, then double it. But I love this garlic press. It is an old school garlic press, and it's just the best. I don't know what I would do without it. And just keep squeezing your garlic right into the mixture. Now, if you like your sauces a little bit more garlicky, please feel free to add more garlic, because you're cooking and it's your style of cooking. You can add or twist your style any way you want to. That's why they call it culinary arts, right? So we'll see how this turns out. With this, I'm going to add a little bit more garlic because I like garlic. And I think my friends like garlic too. So, just going to do about 3, 4 more smaller cloves of garlic. They're not that large. Bear in mind, we do have 6 pounds of shrimp, so it's quite a bit. Okay, so with the garlic added, I'm just going to take a few, probably about a tablespoon of kosher salt and a stick of butter. Now, if you wanted to omit the butter, that's perfectly fine too, and just go with a little bit of olive oil, which I'm going to add probably about a half a cup of olive oil. You have the whole mixture in the bag. Get out the air in the bag, and all you do is just mix everything around, just like that. Super simple, super delicious. All of those flavors will marinate together and just be a wonderful, wonderful saute when we're ready for it. I do add wine to this when we're sauteing. I don't put a lot of flavors together, a lot of ingredients together in this dish. I would like the pairing of the wine, of the Chardonnay, to complement the delicious taste of the mango and the shrimp and the garlic. So now that I've marinated this all together, it's ready to go back into the refrigerator. You can marinate this from 1 to 24 hours, whichever fits your schedule. I'm going to be marinating it for just 1 hour. I'm going to clean up, then I'm going to introduce a special guest to help me finish this wonderful dish. Mango marinating. I brought my sous chef, Trevor Fire-Robin. He's my sous chef and my son, and he is my #1 right-hand man. He will demonstrate how we saute the shrimp and mango.
So before I like to put the shrimp in the pan, I like to add a little oil to it so it doesn't stick, and I'll do that right now. Turn the oven on. I like to add a little oil. Get it all over the pan. Before I add, now I'm going to add the shrimp. Alright, I'm going to let the shrimp cook for about 5 minutes and intermittently add wine to it as it cooks.
Okay, and while that's cooking, I'm going to be preparing the baguette. We're going to be serving the baguette with the sauteed shrimp. And I just simply cut the baguette into slices on the angle. Just pretty much maybe 2.5 to 3 inches thick.
Why so thick?
So the reason why I'm cutting the baguette with this dish is so that the baguette will soak up some of the sauces that the shrimp and mango saute will create. And I just simply place it on a aluminum foil, wrap up all the sides, and stick it in the oven.
We preheated the oven to 350 degrees, and we'll probably leave the bread in there for how long?
Just a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, just to get it warm. Yeah.
Right.
And then once the shrimp and the mango saute is complete, we are going to plate it and serve it to our guests. So Trevor, why don't you see if you need to add a little bit of wine to our saute?
All right. Alright, as you see, the shrimp's starting to get cooked around the edges, so that means one side's done. So you like to flip it all, maybe add a little bit of wine around it. And you want to turn it all over so all the sides get cooked.
So you want to make sure that you don't overcook the shrimp. Just slightly, as it turns slightly pink, it's usually done. Maybe 3 to 5 minutes at the very most. So what do you think the shrimp looks like?
I don't know, let's go check it out.
All right, let's do it.
Alright, so what do you think?
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Is it
done?
done?
It's done.
Alright.
All right, plate it. There you go.
Could you do this? What do you think? Let's go.
I don't know. Okay, so I like to just plate it. Maybe serve it with a little bit of lemon. And place a little slice of baguette on the side. So let me get the baguette. Excuse me, Trevor. So let's take a look at our baguette. Get it clean, nice and warm. place it on the side, and then we can serve it to our guests. And it pairs so lovely with the wonderful Chardonnay that I selected. Now that we're finished with our first course, we'll be going on to our second course,
which is a sweet summer citrus salad with Sauvignon Blanc.
So the first step of making the salad is you want to make sure that you have your salad and your lettuce, but actually we are using fresh spinach for our fresh spinach salad. We also have the ingredients of the pine nuts, fresh citrus. I used a tangelo, which is a cross between an orange and a tangerine. And I took the juices and put the juices separately from the tangela for our dressing. And I'm just going to add a light vinegar or a light oil for the dressing. So what you want to have is you want to have your apple slices very, very thin. So for instance, you want to cut them thin enough that you can see through them almost. Once you've cut about half of the apple, you can place it inside of your spinach. So now if you can just add a little bit of the pine nuts.
All right. A little more?
Yes.
All right.
And a little bit of the feta cheese.
All right.
Actually a little lot, about half of that feta cheese.
Half?
Mm-hmm. And about 5 or 6 pieces of tangelo. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and make the salad dressing. So again, I have the juices from the tangelos. I have about 5 tangelos. Squeeze the juice out. I have about a cup, almost a cup, maybe a little, about 3/4 of a cup. And I just kind of eyeball it. So I've got about 3/4 of a cup of the juice, and I have about a little more than a cup of the olive oil. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper, just a tiny bit of pepper, and then just whisk it together, either with a whisk or a fork. Sometimes I use a little jar and I emulsify it, which is just shaking it up in a covered jar. I like to try a little bit. I use a leftover apple. It's delicious. How is that?
Pretty good.
All right. So I guess we're gonna pour this on here and go ahead, toss the salad.
All right, so when you toss the salad, you want to make sure that you get everything mixed up nice and evenly.
And once you do that, you can just plate it beautifully on the plate.
I like to leave a little bit of apples on top so it looks nice and pretty, you know?
Now that we're finished with our salad, we're going to move on to our main course, which is a smoked Gouda wrapped in a meatball, served with a puffed pastry, paired with a Malbec. I think you'll enjoy it. To prepare the main entree of our wine pairing dinner party would be Gouda cheese inside of a meatball on top of a puff pastry. So we have here 3 pounds of ground beef. and I'm just going to put in 3 eggs. A little bit of seasoning salt. A little bit of, actually 3 cups of breadcrumbs. And then we're going to mix them together, and I'll have my sous chef
Thank you.
go ahead and mix those for us. While he's mixing that, and I will be preparing the puff pastry. I buy already prepared pastry, it's very easy, and I get in the freezer section. So what I do is simply, there's actually 3 parts to the pastry. I cut 3 rectangular parts. And then from there, I will cut this in half again. So make the pastry is pretty uniform. Now that you see they're in uniform parts, I just separate them a little bit, just like that. Once I separate them, we will be placing the meatball directly on top of the puff pastry and baking it in the oven at 400 degrees for just 10 minutes, and that's it. The Gouda cheese will ooze out of the pastry, and it will just be absolutely delicious. So let's start with the meatballs. All you do is just take 1 piece of cheese and about 2 tablespoons of meat. Wrap it around the cheese. So you take your meatball and place it directly on top of the puff pastry. And then after we place all these meatballs on here, and then sprinkle a little bit of black pepper on, and we're ready to pop it into the oven just for 10 minutes. Okay.
Do these we have to do a little more because they're thicker?
They're a little bit bigger.
Maybe we'll do it for 15.
Now that we're waiting for our meatballs to cook for about 10 minutes, I'm going to clean this up and we're going to get started on our sweet finish for a wonderful dinner party. Okay, now we're going to put the nice sweet finishing touches on our dinner party.
What are we making?
We are making a vanilla bean ice cream with port wine and dark covered ackee berries. So here we go.
Oh, it's a big scoop.
Very big scoop.
Right on.
Generous scoop, you know. Oh, I just take a small handful of ackee berries. 2 shots of port wine.
Or you can do 4 if you're like me.
If you want to, and then I can serve it to my guests right away, or even just put it in the freezer for a little while. But we have one more thing we need to do, is plate the meatballs. Trevor, would you mind taking the meatballs out for me?
Sure.
All right. See how the Gouda cheese just oozes out from the meatball? That's what you want. And then it's absorbed by the puffed pastry.
All right.
Let's make this look a little pretty here. Fresh ground pepper.
Smells so good.
And I put ketchup, rosemary, and black pepper in this little squirting bottle. There you have it. We finished up all of our entrees that we're serving to
And
our
I guess
guests.
you're probably hungry.
Our guests are probably hungry. Let's go plate the rest of our food.
And we'll go take it out to them.
Sounds great. How you're able to improvise and take us from outside to inside. We live in a beautiful setting here in Temecula.
You to be the first one to have dinner. You're always the best here.
You guys, this is so fun. And Barbara, thank you for joining me. I'm Deanna Benson with Chef Deanna Benson Cooking with Friends, specializing in creating healthy, tasty gourmet meals. Thank you again, and I'll see you at my next dinner party.